G'day, guys. Googs here. I was just thinking, and I've had this thought a few times now when it comes to marriage equality. You know, why would anyone, if you were given an opportunity to enter a business contract, for example, and you stood to lose half of everything you owned to the other person, and it had an over 30% fail rate, would you sign that contract and trust that the other party to the contract was never going to break the contract to you as you planned never to break it to them in sickness or in health? And I've always wondered about that with marital breakdown because it is a business contract. And I know a lot of people don't see it that way, but it is. You are making a financial and physical contract in sickness and in health till death do you part. It's a business contract. Um, with the government as well, because the government, of course, ratify the whole thing, keep it in their records. So this isn't belittling to the homosexual folk, though, mind you. But why would you want to enter an institution and a business contract which has got an over 30% fail rate? I mean, I have no problems with it. I will be voting yes either way, but it seems a bit odd to me that you would want to enter an institutional contract with somebody else where you've got one third of all of them fail. I've talked about civil marriages and well, civil unions, and I think civil unions, well, pretty much the same thing. You'll still end up with the same fail rate. It's still the same contract, it's just under a different name. And I'm finding this argument actually on both sides. It's the issue isn't the contract. The issue is the word. It's the term. It's the term marriage is the issue here. And we take out that and we make it a civil union. It's essentially the same damn thing, only this time it is literally just a contract. That's all it is. It's just a contract. A civil union is a contract. Marriage is a contract. It'll be exactly the same. It can be worded the same way if you want it to be worded the same way, but you've got a 30% fail rate. Personally, I wouldn't enter into a business deal where the potential partnership of the business deal is going to break down 30% of the time, unless I was intending to at some point leave it, which is why I'm happily de facto with my partner. Mind you, de facto the um, without the contract, you can still go to court once you move in with the person because it's still recognised as a long-term relationship. So therefore still falls under the Marriages Act. Okay? So, to me, why would you want to enter a contract? I mean, everyone's got the fairy tale dream of these weddings, right? And that's all it is. It's a fairy tale. That's all it is. As an institution, I think, I'm not particularly a traditionalist at all. And to be quite honest, marriage to me doesn't mean much. Okay? It's lovely to have the paperwork there. But I still pay my tax under the married, me and my partner still pay our taxes as if we were married. We can still claim the marriage part. And any de facto person, homosexual, straight, LGBTIQ, WTF, I know I'm going to get flack for that, are going to have the same issue, the same thing with under de facto. Um, you know, I don't really understand why people have to get married when under de facto you can do pretty much the same thing. Okay. um, there's a lot of heterosexual couples who don't get married. There's just no need to. So, I think the issue is the term or the idea of the term marriage and what it has represented to our society over the last thousands of years. And that there's an expectation that if you love somebody, you want to marry them. And that's on everybody's sort of side. If that's not just one group or another. That's both the homosexual side and the straight side. There's just this, oh, when are you going to get married, love? It's just it's thought of as the epitome of where a relationship should go. Well, maybe we should think differently on that one and say, hey, if under de facto laws, all we need to do is change a couple of laws and it turns into a will. And you can have will under de facto and you can give your monies to your spouse, etc., etc. I mean, we don't even really need marriage under de facto law. We don't. And that's just the way it is. Um, you know, I'm really tired of the ideological arguments coming up here. Get married if you want to get married, but if I was a homosexual person right now, I'd be fighting to do something different than what at to this point the whole our idea of marriage is. And I'd be saying, look, what we want is the same rights as married people, but we don't want to get married. And if that works, then you've really got a good argument to say, well, why are we getting married? There's no point to marriage. There's no point to civil unions. I love this person. I mean, me and my partner, when we got engaged, and we have no intention of getting married, when we got engaged, we threw a party. And we didn't say any vows. We didn't need to. We just had a good night with each other, and our friends, and our kids, and our families, and that was sort of our wedding. That was our wedding at at that moment. So you know, marriage has become such a hot issue, and under a lot of de facto laws, you don't need it. It is it is bygone. You don't need the government to tell you that you love each other and that you're together. So that's just a different take on this whole issue. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get married or you shouldn't get married or the 30% means anything to you. It's just trying to put a different spin on all of this, coming from a different angle. All right, well, I'm Googs, and I'll catch you a bit later on. Have a great day, guys. Hooroo.